The internet had barely wiped the sleep from its eyes when Offset suddenly wiped his entire digital existence, deleting both his Instagram and his Twitter in the same breath. A move so abrupt that it immediately sent fans into detective mode, wondering what on earth happened behind the scenes. Because artists don't just disappear from every platform at the exact same moment unless something deeper is happening. And with Offset denying the viral screenshot circulating across social media, people couldn't help but feel something wasn't adding up. The whole situation started with that now infamous screenshot, the one that allegedly showed Offset posting, "My kid, LOL," a short, simple message that carried a massive wave of speculation because the internet instantly connected it to rumors surrounding Cardi B's newborn, and the moment that screenshot hit timelines, it spread like wildfire as fans grabbed it, shared it, zoomed in, analyzed the background colors, the font, the timestamp, anything they could find, especially because the post disappeared almost instantly, vanishing from Offset's story before most people ever saw it firsthand, leaving only screenshots and guesses behind. But even with the post gone, the internet had already seen enough to spark a major conversation. And just when everyone assumed this was an unfiltered emotional moment from Offset, the twist arrived. Offset himself denied the screenshot entirely. According to him, the post was fake, edited, fabricated, and never existed on his page in the first place. But that denial didn't calm the situation at all. If anything, it made the story even bigger, because the internet doesn't forget a post that fast. And that was just the beginning. Soon after, entertainment reporter Lauren LaRosa dropped the official PR-approved statement, one that sounded polished, smooth, delicate, and carefully crafted, claiming outright that the screenshot was fabricated, that Offset never posted it, that any messages circulating online weren't from him, and that the entire situation escalated much further than necessary. The statement insisted that Offset remained supportive of Cardi and wished her the best, which sounded nice, measured, and corporate, but the moment the statement hit the timeline, fans raised their eyebrows because the tone of the PR version didn't match the emotional tone Offset himself had shown recently. And the fact that he wiped his entire social media right after the incident only made the denial feel more confusing. Why delete everything if the post was never real? Why deactivate if you're innocent? Those were the exact questions fans were asking, and the internet wasn't done. People began digging, scrolling, searching, and within hours, they discovered something that completely shifted the conversation. Offset's brother had allegedly posted, "My nephew, LOL," around the same time the viral post appeared, and that message was deleted too. Suddenly, the story felt like a puzzle with pieces that didn't fit but somehow matched anyway. Fans thought the coincidence was too specific, too perfectly timed, too aligned with a rumor that was supposedly fake. If one post was fabricated, how did the other appear? If the entire thing was misinformation, why was there a second post echoing the same message? These questions became the biggest contradiction in the entire controversy, and the internet ran with it, pointing out that celebs rarely deny something this strongly unless there's more to protect, and that the timing of the brothers' message made the situation feel even more tangled. And once people noticed the matching posts, everything escalated. Offset deleted everything, not just one app, but both, Instagram and Twitter, leaving no trail, no posts, no comments, nothing. Some fans saw this as a panic reaction, a moment of shutting everything down because the backlash was too heavy, especially with people debating paternity rumors online. Others believed it was strategic damage control, an attempt to reset the narrative before the internet spiraled even further. Then, an older comment from Offset resurfaced, where he mentioned that false accusations were messing up his chances to spend time with his kids, a message that showed frustration and emotion, yet again, not matching the calm, neat tone of the formal statement released on his behalf. This growing mismatch between Offset's personal reactions and his professional PR responses only deepened the confusion, and fans started discussing whether there were two conversations happening, one behind the scenes and one crafted for public view. Meanwhile, Cardi B was dealing with something completely different, something far more personal than digital drama. She went live and opened up about her postpartum experience, explaining how overwhelming the emotional adjustment had been after giving birth, describing days when she felt sensitive, drained, and weighed down, moments where every little thing felt heavier than usual. She spoke about postpartum fluctuations, the pressure of healing while the world watches, the impact of snapback culture where the internet expects new moms to look perfect within weeks, and how the pressure to maintain confidence and appearance adds stress at a time when she's supposed to be resting and recovering. She admitted to feeling overwhelmed at times and explained that every mother experiences postpartum differently, and that's it important to do whatever helps you feel like yourself again, whether that means getting your hair done, stepping outside, taking a break, or simply reclaiming small parts of your routine that make you feel grounded. Cardi's openness added a whole new layer of context to the situation because when someone is emotionally vulnerable, misinformation hits harder, speculation feels heavier, and online chaos becomes more exhausting than usual. Her vulnerability helped fans understand why the rumor, the screenshot, and the timing felt like such a heavy blow, and why the entire situation spiraled the way it did. And fans weren't only focused on her emotional state, they were beginning to look at the larger picture forming around both artists. As fans started to zoom out from the immediate drama, they began connecting this situation to a much bigger pattern they felt they had seen play out in Cardi and Offset's relationship over the years. Because to a lot of people watching from the outside, this did not feel like a random one-time misunderstanding, but more like the latest chapter in a long and complicated story between two people who have been on and off, in the headlines, and under a microscope for a long time. Viewers remembered the past public bumps, the infidelity rumors, the reconciliations, the moments where Cardi seemed to defend or stand beside him, and they started talking about a dynamic that felt very familiar in real life. A partner who acts distant, messy, or inconsistent while the relationship is still intact, and then suddenly becomes hyper-focused and emotionally reactive when the other person finally pulls away. Commentators and fans on social media began to share their own stories and experiences, saying this reminded them of men who did not fully appreciate their partner while they were together, but then reacted strongly when that partner moved on, shifted their energy, or started setting firmer boundaries. Some voices online framed it as a case of someone struggling to accept that a chapter might truly be closing. And the reason this theory gained traction is because it lined up, in their eyes, with the timing of events. The rumors, the alleged post, the denial, the account deletions, and the official statement. None of this is confirmed, of course, but in the court of public opinion, perception often becomes its own storyline. At the same time, people began paying attention to how Offset presented himself online in the days leading up to his social media wipe. That resurfaced comment where he talked about false accusations affecting his time with his kids struck a chord because it showed how deeply he felt the impact of public perception, especially when children are involved. In that message, he said he was not angry at Cardi's reaction, but more upset about what he felt were unfair posts that could interfere with his family time and holiday moments. And that element made the situation feel more personal and intense than just another celebrity rumor. But again, fans could not help but notice the contrast between that emotional, real-time response and the carefully worded statement from his spokesperson. And that split in tone made it harder for people to trust which version represented how he truly felt. Some viewers felt sympathy, saying it must be difficult to navigate co-parenting, public accusations, and heartbreak while the world comments on every move. Others felt skeptical, pointing out the support is not just words in a statement, but about consistency in behavior over time. All of this created a strange energy shift on social media, where some fans wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt, while others felt the timing of everything was too perfectly chaotic to dismiss. Then there was the conversation around how often Cardi has been the one publicly explaining her emotions, her mental health, and her side of the story, while Offset tends to speak through either short bursts of emotion or formal PR statements. This imbalance became part of the larger narrative fans were building. On one side, a woman sharing her vulnerabilities and postpartum journey in detail, and on the other side, a man caught between denial, deleted accounts, and polished statements issued on his behalf. That combination made many people question which version of the narrative they believed, and whether the truth was somewhere in the messy middle. As the dust started to settle, the topic evolved from did he post that screenshot into a wider reflection on how messy public breakups and co-parenting situations can become when mixed with social media, fan speculation, and emotional timing. Viewers pointed out how quickly misinformation can travel, how fast people choose sides, and how hard it must be for any person, even a celebrity, to process normal human emotions like sadness, frustration, or regret while everyone is watching. Cardi's honesty about her postpartum journey made people more protective of her, especially mothers who related to what she described about feeling emotional, exhausted, and pressured to appear strong even when they are still healing. That sense of empathy for her stood in sharp contrast to the doubt many felt toward Offset's explanation, especially with the timing of the brothers' post and the full account deletion. Still, it is important to remember that from the outside, no one truly knows every detail, every conversation, or every private moment. People only see what is posted, deleted, or shared publicly. That's why the situation has left the internet divided. Some believe Offset when he says the posts are fake and the whole thing was blown out of proportion, but others think there are simply too many coincidences for everything to be dismissed as fabrication. In the end, what we're watching is not just a paternity rumor or a single disappearing story, but a collision between personal lives and public platforms where emotions, timing, and perception all mix into one whirlwind. Offset's deleted accounts, the official statement, the resurfaced comments, the brothers' post, Cardi's live about postpartum and mental health, and the long history between them have all combined to create a storyline that feels bigger than any one screenshot. Whether this ends up being remembered as a giant misunderstanding that spun out of control, or as a turning point in how both of them handle their public and private lives, one thing is clear. Fans will be paying close attention to what happens next. Will Offset quietly return to social media with a fresh start and a new approach, or will he address the situation directly in his own words instead of through a spokesperson? Will Cardi continue opening up about her emotional world while keeping her distance from speculation, or will she eventually share more context when she is ready? For now, all we can do is watch from the outside, keep the conversation respectful, and remember that behind every headline and viral post are real people trying to navigate complicated emotions in front of millions. And that brings everything back to the original question that started this whole conversation. Did Offset truly delete his social media because of a fake post and unfair backlash, or was the cleanup part of a bigger story that hasn't been fully told yet? Whatever you think, this situation has definitely shown how quickly one screenshot can change the entire tone of a relationship in the public eye, and has left fans asking themselves where they stand on what really happened.